So we should definitely start with something that marked your career, maybe with 2 big years in Valencia from 2008 to 2010. You played like for under 18 team and also for senior team. Now from the distance, how do you feel about that? What do you think about that period in your career?
All the great things. Actually, it was like 3 years.
3 years.
I played under 16, under 18, and at the same time with the first team. And I would say Valencia was a place where I started to spread my wings. You know, they had an amazing setup for young players. All the development trainings that we have individually, it was amazing. And also I was very lucky to have coaches like Katsikaris and Neven Spahia, especially Neven, who gave me lots of opportunities to play with the first team, you know, and there was a motivation for me and the inspiration to practice even more and to prove them that I can play in that league.
I think you spoke about that in one other interview about Neven Spahia and about the specific situation with him when he made a decision to put you in the first team. Yeah. Can you explain something more about that?
Yeah, from the first day he arrived, I think he saw something in me. He was very tough. He was very tough on the young guys, but it never bothered me. It motivated me all the time. And even one game, I remember I knew I was going to play maybe. I was expecting, but I never thought that I was going to be a first substitution in the game. So when he said like my name, I was so surprised that like I was excited. All the adrenaline went through my body, and I was so excited. Even he let me start a couple of games. One of them was against Real Madrid, and I just want to say thank you. I already told him, but every time I have an opportunity, I want to say thanks to him to give me this kind of opportunity, because for young players it's very important.
After the Valencia, you had a short episode in Šengelija. How do you feel about that now? How much is it important, that period in your career?
Šengelija was, I would say, me translating from a young guy to the professional player. You know, first time they signed me for 2 years. First year they signed me to a team called Pepinster. The idea was that I was going to play lots of minutes there, and next year they will bring me to Šengelija, and that's what happened. In Pepinster I had lots of opportunities. It's a small town, but the fans and the team was very nice to me. And then in Šengelija they gave me lots of opportunities. I was a starting power forward for them, playing EuroLeague at the age of 19, 20, and they gave me lots of opportunities and lots of time to develop, and I want to say thanks to them as well.
So we should also talk about your NBA part of the career. You were 54th pick overall, and you were chosen by Philadelphia 76ers, and later that night you were traded to Brooklyn Nets.
Yes.
How did you feel that night?
I was so excited. There is not much that I remember, because everything was, you know, like in the flash of a light. I remember I had lots of friends and family in Brooklyn, you know. So when I get drafted with the Philadelphia, they were like, "Oh, you are like 2 hours away. You're like almost home." And I was like, "Yes, you know, like I'm close. I made it to the NBA." And then in 20 minutes, I find out they transferred me to Brooklyn, and my friends and family were like, "Oh, you home now," you know. And it happened so quick. I didn't even have time to realize it. You know, I was sat down with my Philadelphia 76er hat on a press conference, and I think it was the third question they asked me. They were like, "Oh, you just got transferred to Brooklyn Nets. What do you think about it?" And Brooklyn was the new team. They were just transferring from New Jersey to Brooklyn. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm happy to be here.
So can you compare your European experiences with NBA experiences?
I can't, because it's different. You know, I'm playing here a lot. There I didn't have much playing time. so I can't really say much about as far as comparison goes, but I definitely learned a lot in NBA as well. I had the great, amazing teammates, future Hall of Famers, from which I learned a lot. How to behave on the court, off the court, how to be a leader for my teammates and my team, and I definitely had lots of experience there.
Yeah. So please don't get me wrong with the next question, but how do the guy from Georgia become an NBA player? It's not like we have that situation like every day, or maybe not even every year or every 10 years.
It's something that I put work in, you know. Ever since I was a little kid, it was my dream, and everything I did, I was picturing this, you know, and I never did what coaches told me, because I always was doing extra, you know, before practice, after practice, on a day off, before school, after school in Valencia, you know. So I was very thirsty and hungry and motivated to achieve this, you know. So I think there was a thing.
Who was your biggest support? Like, we know you like really family guy, and we know that you have great connection with your sister.
Who was my biggest support?
Yeah.
All my family, my father, my mother, and my sister. Ever since I left to Valencia, it was tough times for me, because it was the first time I left my family, my country, my friends, and I was speaking to them daily basis, you know, and every time I was down or something, they would pick me up and support me, even from the far away. So I would say my family and God.
So we should also speak about your career in national team in Georgia. How much is it important to you to become an idol to some kids maybe in your country?
Well, for me, if I motivate even one kid in my career, that's I'm happy. You know? For me, to play national team is something very special. I remember when I was a very young kid, sitting in the stands and watching the main national team play in Sports Palace in Georgia. I was dreaming about it, standing there and singing our national anthem. And when the first time it happened, I was so excited, you know. And it's very special times, me playing and wearing Georgian uniform.
How do you see Georgian national team in the future?
I think we have a lot of potential right now. The core of the team, who was last 10 years, those guys stopped playing basketball, retired from the national team. So we do have a bright future, but I think we still need a little bit of time to get together and get this chemistry going as we had before.
So you mentioned also in one interview that Toni Kukoc was one of your favorite players.
Yes.
What do you think about the players from this region, from Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia? And do you see any connection between Serbian and Georgian basketball?
When I was young, you know, my father told me that Yugoslavian school of basketball was great, you know, great for great talents, full of great talents, and amazing players like Toni, Vlade, Divas, you know, Stojakovic. I don't want to miss anybody, you know, Petrovic, you know, and so I don't know. I was watching them. I started to watch them ever since my father told me about them, and I really liked it how Toni Kukoc used to play. You know, he was tall, shooter, playing like a point guard, seeing everybody. You know, he was intelligent player for me. You know, so I would say I don't know how I'm gonna compare them to Georgian players, but I would say maybe temperament we have pretty much the same.
Yeah. Do you think that we have the same passion for basketball?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
I think we do.
Can you tell us something more about the passion for the game in Georgia? How people see you and the other players from the national team?
Like I said, it's to play for a national team. It's something different. You know, everybody there for one reason only. You know, just put our country on the map, to put our country in front of all of our egos. You know, put our egos aside and play for our country, play for our people. And when you see that everybody is doing this, it becomes something special, you know. And then it's when you feel like it's the patience there, you know. When you see all the hard work, all the dedication that everybody is doing for the country is different. It's something I cannot explain. You know.
Now we have a kind of a connection with Igor Kokoškov. Can you tell us something more about your impressions of him? You had a chance to work with him, or he had a chance to work with you?
I'll say I had a chance to work with him because I was 16 years old when I started playing for our senior national team, and it was his first year as well. And 8 years we play together, I'll say, and I'll just say you guys are so lucky to have him as a head coach in Serbian national team. For me, he's on top of my list. So as a favorite coaches, you know, we've been through a lot. I learned so much from him, and the trust he put in me since day one. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing how he helped me to develop as a player, as a person, and. For someone from outside of your country to take everything to his heart, he was like Georgian there, you know. So I couldn't compare. I couldn't say that he's Serbian and coaching Georgian. No, he was really like Georgian, and everything he did with the passion, you know. So I think you guys are very lucky to have him as a head coach.
How do you see him on the bench of Serbian national team? We are going to take a part in qualification for the Olympic Games and everything. It's going to be his first challenge. How do you see him?
I don't want to say it's still far away. You know, I would say this, that Serbia has very talented and great players, and to add Igor as their coach, I think it's going to be something. Amazing mix, you know. So I don't want to say what's going to happen in the future, or if who's going to play, who's not. You know, it's still far ahead, but I think you guys have a great chance.
Now you're in Baskonia. It's going to be 6 years for you in Vitoria. It seems like you completely found yourself in that city, in that club, in culture and everything. How do you feel about your club?
I feel great. You know, it's something that happens since day one, that these fans and this organization took me as one of their own. You know, since day one, and I felt it. My family felt it, and I think they feeling that it's a two-way feeling. You know, I think they're seeing that I'm a passionate guy. I have lots of character, like they call this character Baskonia, and I think we have this connection that both sides are happy, you know, and I really like it there. My family loves it there, so I would say it's my second home right now.
So, do you see yourself in Baskonia in the future?
Yes, I have 2 more years with them, and then you never know. You know, I can't say what's going to happen in the future.
How it looks like to be Tornike Šengelija off the court? Do you have any special hobbies? What do you like to do in your free time? Is there any other sport that you have interest for?
I watch soccer every now and then. I'm a Chelsea fan, so if they're playing a good game, I'll just watch it. But we don't really have lots of free times with this schedule and practices. But whenever I do, I spend it with my kids and family.
I heard that you like golf. Is it true?
Do I like what?
Golf.
This year I started to play golf with my teammates, Shivan, Met, and Aydin. We start to play, and I sucked at the beginning, but now I'm a little bit better. Yeah. But I'm interested. I like the golf. Yeah.